So the former CEO of American Income Life was in town to do a book review, a book signing. He released a book, The Most Unlikely Leader, and I got it right here. We did a podcast together. His gentleman's name is Roger Smith. Phenomenal, phenomenal man. Been with American Income Life for 40 plus years, twice as long as I've been alive almost, respectfully and humbly. Just the amount of value that he was able to bring and how genuine this gentleman was insane to me. To meet somebody so wealthy, not just financially, but internally as well. It was an incredible experience for him to come meet my mother and my sister. We work together as well now, but just to be so friendly with everybody and then ultimately to have our CEO and my partner Simon Arias here as well. Just to have all of this value here today, it was incredible. It was insane. And some of the things that I took away, I want to share with you guys because I want to remember this forever. And I want to shout out this chain that I'm wearing. Some people made some comments. Somebody said, "Am I wearing a Harry Potter wand?" And I had to correct them and let them know just how awesome this gift was to me. And so Simon Arias started in the company when he was 22. He met Roger Smith, the CEO at the time, when he was 24. And he had gifted, I believe he was with his mother, and he had gifted him this chain. I believe it's a David Yurman charm, it's a sword. And they probably had a phenomenal speech, engagement, and it was more so just Roger just recognizing how great of a leader Simon had quickly advanced, an SGA, an owner in 2 years, and how good he was going to be over the years. And Roger speaks, he's so honest and transparent, and he speaks so highly of Simon, basically saying there's no leader like Simon Arias. And so he gave Simon this charm when he was 24. And so I just turned 24, and I always tell Simon, and meeting an individual like Roger, one thing that comes to my heart, my mind is, if I'm a fraction of the men that you are, I'll be a great man for my family and for the people that I'm blessed to work alongside as well. So it was so awesome to receive this, and I'm excited to repay the favor down the road and find a young man or woman that I can kind of bestow this symbolism of greatness upon. But let me share some of my notes from the visit, if you guys don't mind. Roger opened up with me, and he was giving leadership advice in regard to decision making, and he said, "Tristan, you aren't married to the decision." And so what he said is, when you make a decision in leadership, you're going to put people in an uncomfortable position, and you've got to let them know that when you get new data, it's time for you as the leader to make a new decision if it's needed. Don't live and die by a decision based off of your ego. Make sure you make the best decision for the whole organization with the data that's available. And I love that because so many times as young leaders, old leaders, it doesn't matter. As leaders, we get backed into a corner by some of our people sometimes of, well, you said it was going to be this way. You said this was going to happen. That was off of that data. Here's the new data. Here's the new decision. Do you see why? How can I help you better understand? What are your thoughts? Get people bought in as well and let them participate. And something to add in, a bonus that I've learned from Simon putting me on to Maxwell, is what people contribute to, they support. But what's forced upon them, they resist. So I always try to get people to speak and help me build the plans. That way I have the least amount of resistance. Nobody likes to lead against resistance. So he went on to say one of his favorite quotes was from one of his favorite mentors, Mark McAndrews, who was the old president and CEO of Torchmark, which is now Globe Life, our parent company. And he said, he was telling Roger, he said, "Listen, Roger, nothing is as good as it seems, and nothing is as bad as it seems." And so what does that mean? That means, as much as we talk about philosophy and stoicism, when you're going through those valleys, those lows in life, when people are dying and you're not making the money you want to make and things aren't going the ways you want them to go, you're not going to be there forever. But that also means when you're making all the money in the world, your relationships are golden, and everything's going the way you thought it was going to go, you're also not going to be there forever. But where you can be, is you can keep your mind, what you have control over, in between, in just a calm, poised, appreciate the highs and appreciate the lows, because there's lessons here and there's joy here. But you don't have to be so dictated by either one. You don't have to be constantly making irrational decisions because you're so high on life. but you don't have to be constantly making zero decisions because you're so fearful and you're in a depression of always thinking of the darkness and what if there's more darkness ahead. There is, but there's light ahead as well. Just keep showing up. That's it. Simon gave such a phenomenal introduction of Roger. It's one of Simon's, I think one of his best characteristics as a leader is the way he edifies people and brings life to people. He makes you seem 10 times better than you are. And I've noticed that in the best leaders, the way they build up people, and it's like they make people just these phenomenal individuals, and they are, but just phenomenal introduction and talking about the impact that Roger's had on his life and everything he's overcome and the meaning to Simon and being able to see that. It was incredible to watch all of that. And I think the biggest thing for me getting out of all of that was probably the chain exchange. And when Simon, it said he started at 22 and I met Roger when I was 24, and one of the first things that stuck out to me was his chain. And Marcus said, when you meet Roger, you're going to love him. And he reminded me a lot of myself. So you gotta imagine Roger's this hip guy, you know what I mean? And even to this day, just very classy but down to earth, and you wouldn't even know he's a mature leader. I'll say it that way. See if there's anything else that I really wanted to give. I think the only other thing was this too shall pass. You know, I think so many people, especially if you're your first year in the business, in an industry, and pursuing something great, you got to realize this too shall pass. You're going through something and it sucks. This too shall pass. I like how Roger said, burn every bridge. So a lot of people might think that's burning the bridges of relationships, but he meant that's burning the bridge to your plan B. So a lot of people will start a new endeavor, a new opportunity, or getting into an industry like I'm in with life insurance, and they'll have a plan B. If this doesn't work, I know I can go back to this. As soon as you burn the bridges to all the other plans, you're forced to make plan A work. It has to work. I don't know when, but it has to work. It's so important for us to teach that to up-and-coming leaders, and ultimately to remind ourselves, because the first person you need to impact and grow and add value to daily, constantly, is yourself. If you're not constantly filling up your cup, you won't be able to fill up anybody else's. Balance. Roger talked on balance and being present. If you're at work, be present. And if you're like me, when I'm with my family, I'm present, never on my phone. Just kidding. I've got my family here right now, I'm always on my phone. So, balance is something I got to work on, and Roger was telling me about it. He was letting me hear it, actually. So, be present in whatever you're doing. With your family, be present. If you're working, be present. Whose responsibility is it to find a mentor? He said it's your responsibility. So if you think somebody's coming to find you and tutor you and make your life better and give you the wisdom and knowledge for you to have a better life, they're not coming. You got to go seek them out and find them. And then it's your responsibility to take that information and implement and keep implementing and keep showing up. So the three things Roger's mentors taught him. 3 mentors, 3 things. Mike Farrell, his stepdad, mentor. He mentored him on how to sell. Mr. B, the founder of American Income Life, taught him patience and give back and looking for the best in people. And then finally, Mark McAndrews, the previous CEO of Torchmark, taught him that nothing is good as it seems and nothing is as bad as it seems. And then he also said, if I'm going to motivate you, I'm going to use positive emotions. I think that's so key. And Simon ended and closed us out with how great Chicago is and this territory and the history and this opportunity. And, you know, one thing I really liked, and I'll end with this, and Simon said, an individual like Roger that's been 40 plus years in the company had a year 1, just like you. Right now, maybe you're in the midst of your year 1. I'm in my year 1, or you're in your year 1, whoever it might be. I'm only year 5. Simon's year 17, but he had a year 1. You're watching this, and maybe you're year 20, year 30, year 40, but you had a year 1. And someone's going to be watching this, and you had a year 1, or you're going through your year 1. And just know that what you went through, we went through, someone else went through. My year 8, someone else went through a year 8. And so find individuals with credible success that you have similar morals and values and principles to that person that's had more years than you, and know if they can, you can. I hope you guys enjoyed this. Have a blessed day.